Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley Jenkins.
I'm Turney.
Since the untimely death of Nintendo President Satoru Iwata last year, many have been wondering what types of changes would be coming at Nintendo under the direction of new president Tatsumi Kimishima.
When Kimishima first stepped into command back in September, it was announced by Nintendo that there would be a large-scale revision of the organizational structure of the company.
Normally that sounds scary.
Yes, besides a new role for Shigeru Miyamoto, who had been an acting director in place of Iwata, along with colleague Genyo Takeda, we hadn't really heard much about the restructuring.
However, in a newly translated Kimishima interview from Q&As that took place after Nintendo's most recent earnings call, we finally have a better picture, and it's a pretty major shakeup for Nintendo.
Is this a Majora's Mask level Terminian apocalypse for Nintendo? Is the moon falling?
Ah, that moon!
Actually, no. In fact, it sounds like it actually might be a very good thing.
That moon. According to Kimishima, Nintendo has restructured to put more of an emphasis on its young talent in order to pave the way for the next generation of developers. When speaking about the importance of youth to the future of the company, he said, "The ideas of our young employees are also key to our ability to transition to the next generation and to continue to produce exciting ideas."
Kimishima also stated that the restructure happened so these young people could take more active roles so their employees could reach their full potential. Something else Nintendo hopes to do soon is to allow more of a chance to get to know its young developers, giving them more of a public-facing presence.
Now, typically, words like restructuring are really bad news for companies. It's what you say when you want to sweep entire departments under the rug and hope that nobody notices Bob's gone. But poor Bob. Yeah. But this actually sounds like maybe a positive thing. So far, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. Some sleuths over at NeoGAF, again, doing the Lord's work over there, guys, have put together some more concrete details on just what some of these big changes actually are, in addition to highlighting younger talent, of course. There's some shifting of names and titles, as you can expect, but the most notable have to do with the changes around Miyamoto and Iwata's old roles of orchestrating Wii and 3DS software.
Now, that responsibility will fall to General Manager Shinya Takahashi, who's had his hands in basically everything in the last couple of decades, including Ocarina of Time and Smash Brothers, Katsuya Iguchi, who's Wii Sports and Animal Crossing, and probably the most famously to you developer fanboys out there, Yoshiaki Koizumi.
Nailed it.
Koizumi. Nailed it. Did it. I'm not great with Japanese names, but I practiced this time.
You did a good
That's
job.
because I love you, Nintendo.
It's like the lost boys of Nintendo. Koizumi is only Miyamoto's protege, you know, the guy behind the combat system in Ocarina of Time, the time system in Majora's Mask, Super Mario Galaxy, and Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, just to name a few, so he's no big deal.
I thought they were focusing on youth. He's been around for a while. He's also Lawrence's totally not-so-secret developer crush, and can you blame him? I mean, anybody that can make a fun platformer out of bongos deserves a couple of notes slipped in his locker.
Oh yeah, so the significant thing about the recently promoted Nintendo staff is that they are all now the deciders for all of the games that make it on the NX and the mobile platforms.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, again, a job that previously belonged to Iwata and Miyamoto for the last decade or so with the Wii and the Nintendo DS. So yeah, Nintendo is definitely on the brink of something very new for the company.
What can we infer from these changes? Well, a few things, actually. First, it's that Splatoon made a lot of money.
Oh yeah, that might sound kind of weird, but that's actually incredibly important. Splatoon was the first new IP launched by Nintendo's internal entertainment analysis and development group since 2001's Pikmin.
What, really?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Wow.
We don't need new stuff. Bring up another Zelda. That means Nintendo.
Well, do bring up another
yeah,
Zelda.
But
We appreciate that.
That was a joke for us. It wasn't. Sorry. That means Nintendo launched 3 separate consoles in the time that it took its teams entirely dedicated to new games to develop one IP that they took all the way to the market.
And it just so happens to be a huge hit, selling 4 million copies worldwide, which is especially impressive when you think about how many Wii U's there are out there, which is not a lot. It also happens to be the best-selling new IP of 2015 and the best-selling new IP of this generation so far.
Yes.
It's easily the most important game Nintendo's released in the last 10 years in that way, and it was created by young talent at Nintendo experimenting with an idea.
I love it. The second thing we can infer from this shift at Nintendo is that Nintendo wants to get away from the Shigeru Miyamoto era. No, we don't mean it in a bad way, we promise. Let us explain.
With so much focus put on Miyamoto in the last 20 years, and really, I mean, can you blame him? The guy created Donkey Kong, Mario, Zelda. Nintendo sort of painted itself into a strange corner whereby fans were the most interested in whatever games Miyamoto was currently working on.
So this had the effect of creating some excellent hype for Nintendo with Miyamoto's new titles, but it had that whole double-edged double-edged sword thing going on of needing to spread Miyamoto around a bit more, even to the hardware side of Nintendo. Miyamoto himself has said in recent years that he'd like to pull back and focus more on individual titles. So with his new role of creative fellow, it sounds like he'll be able to do just that. You can just see his little smile. I see it in my head.
I want a job title of fellow.
He's a little
smiling
smiling
fellow. Can I be
fellow.
a news fellow?
Smiling Miyamoto fellow.
Focusing on putting more young talent in the spotlight gives Nintendo a chance to build up new personalities the same way they have with Miyamoto across a number of diverse projects. It has the double benefit of getting Miyamoto back to what he's best at.
See, we weren't saying that Nintendo hates Miyamoto. They're not gonna Kojima the guy.
Never! It's Miyamoto. The third thing that we can infer from all of this is that the Nintendo NX is more than just a new piece of hardware for Nintendo. This is a paradigm shift in a platform.
It's big, and those are fancy P words.
And B words.
Oh yeah. Iwata and Miyamoto have both made comments in the past about wanting to move Nintendo to a more unified architecture, citing Apple as the primary comparison since the company has the benefit of continually releasing new hardware on the same OS in different form factors.
It seems that for Nintendo, the NX isn't just a new piece of hardware, it's not just a new generation, it's a fundamental mindset change for how it develops and distributes games. The production schedule, the restructuring, the promise to investors that Nintendo will soon turn to Nintendo-like profits thanks to the NX, it's all pointing to the Nintendo being all in on this new platform.
A platform that encompasses handheld, console, and even Nintendo's mobile strategy. But seriously, Nintendo, could we please hear something about this apparently cloud-based hybrid inexpensive receptacle of all of our hopes and dreams, please?
Hopefully that will come soon, especially if it's coming out sometime this year. In the meantime, it seems like Nintendo is readying for an entirely new direction for the company with its young developers leading the way. They're like the nerdy girl in the movie who took her glasses off and now she's popular.
I can't see anything.
But you look great.
And I look squinty and weird. You all pointed out in the comments, I know.
With all the times they've been accused of staying in the past, it's considered a new, even more bold Nintendo than we've seen in recent years.
Yes, and considering all the times they've literally changed the game, that only spells good thing for gamers, especially with some new blood calling the shots.
What do you guys think of Nintendo's sea change? Should they keep on the way they always have, or are you looking forward to seeing what else comes from their younger developers?
More Zelda! For news and speculation about the NX and particularly new Nintendo, like this video and subscribe to the know. More Zelda.
Always more Zelda. Just give us the Zelda that we're waiting for. That's a start.
Forget Linkle. Just a Link to the Past again. Just re-release it, I'll buy it again.
Just keep releasing your old games, but new versions. Wait a minute, that's what Nintendo does.
I love it, and I love them for it. Just please take my money. I just want to give it to you.
There's such a weird mix of like taking crazy risks with their hardware, but doing the same games over again.
I love them. I can't quit you, and I don't want to. And shut the fuck up, Miles, or I'll strangle you with my bare hands.
Fucking loud.